I think this cake reminds me of like every birthday party I had up until the age of probably like 13. I looked forward to my birthday so much every year, not because it was like my birthday, but because I was like, I get to make a cake. And I didn't understand that not everybody made their birthday cake. I'm like, what do you mean you don't make your birthday cake? Like, what's wrong with you? Like, you buy it? Why? I'm Caroline Schiff, and I'm a pastry chef from Brooklyn, New York, and today I'm making confetti birthday cake. So we have 447 grams granulated sugar, 3 whole eggs, 1 teaspoon vanilla, half a teaspoon of baking powder, salt, baking soda, 135 grams all-purpose flour, 135 grams cake flour, 275 grams canola oil, 341 grams of whole milk. This is like my go-to cake base. Just crack your eggs right into your bowl, no shells. So I'm just gonna add my sugar right in. We're just gonna start whisking this on high speed. 1 teaspoon vanilla. I'm gonna start to stream in the oil. I probably just eyeball in like a few tablespoons at a time. This technique in the beginning where you're really like emulsifying the oil in, it sounds weird, but you're almost creating like a mayonnaise. And then that keeps it like super moist. I'm just gonna sift all of the dry ingredients together. All-purpose flour, cake flour, salt, baking powder, baking soda, and I have my milk, and I'm gonna alternate adding these. I'm gonna add half of the dry, just eyeball that in. Now I'm gonna add the milk, and you can just kind of stream it right in. So scraping down the bowl is really important because you'll see you get like a lot of flour stuck on the sides and also at the very bottom of the bowl. And if you don't take the time to scrape that down, it's not gonna get incorporated. So at this point, I'm gonna add the rest of the flour. So I'm gonna give this one final mix, just to make sure everything is really fully incorporated. So it's a really, really loose batter, and that's exactly what you want. We wanna line each pan with a circle of parchment paper, and the easiest way to do that is to take your full sheets of parchment and fold them in half. Fold them into quarters. And then, so this part is your center here. We're gonna fold it 2 more times. So you have kind of a cone shape. Then, flip your pan upside down. You're gonna put this right in the center so you're getting like the radius of the pan. And then just kind of mark with your finger where you wanna cut. We're gonna cut it right here. You should get 3 circles. Pastry trick. The first chef I ever worked for showed me how to do this, and I was like, whoa, mind blown. It's amazing. I like to just spray each one of these a little more. These are 8-inch cake pans, and you can eyeball it in and just go up about like ½ an inch. Now that you have your cake divided, you're gonna add your sprinkles. Just kind of want to like swirl them in a little bit so they sink into the batter. 5-year-olds will want this cake, but also like 40-year-olds. They're like, and can you put rainbow sprinkles in it? Like this cake will make pretty much anybody happy. 325, about 20 minutes, and you want them just set in the center, very like pale golden color. We are going to make the buttercream. It's 6 ounces of egg whites, 12 ounces of granulated sugar, 18 ounces of soft butter, ½ a teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon vanilla extract. There's lots of different kinds of buttercream out there. This one is my favorite because it is a meringue base, so it's not gonna be as super sweet, and it's gonna be a lot smoother and lighter and fluffier than something that's just made with butter and confectioner's sugar. So we're gonna start with just whipping the egg whites to really stiff peaks. ½ a teaspoon of salt, just to check and see if they're done. You just kind of want to lift them up like that. If they stay in place, you're good to go. We're going to take regular granulated sugar, and then I'm gonna add water to make it into what we call a wet sand mixture and heat it to 238 degrees. And that is also known as softball stage, when the sugar gets to a point where it'll be like really pliable. So if you're doing this on a standard gas or electric stove, you just wanna be at the highest setting. So I am using a candy thermometer, also known as a deep fry thermometer. You can pick them up anywhere, and you also want to be really careful because hot sugar is really dangerous. And as soon as that hits 238 degrees, we're going to stream it into our whipping egg whites. And those stiff peaks, that's exactly what you want. It's nice and shiny. So at this point, we're going to start adding our butter. A few cubes at a time. It should be room temperature. I'm gonna add the vanilla, last thing. It should be really nice and fluffy. While I was making the frosting, the cakes were baking, and then they just need to fully cool before you frost your cake. Our cakes are done, they're cooled. We have a bowl of our rainbow sprinkles, and we have our buttercream. So now the fun part, we're ready to put our cake together. One of these rotating turntables is going to be really, really handy in terms of frosting your cake as well. With each layer, I'm just going to turn it onto my round here and very carefully peel off the parchment. And you're definitely going to want to use one of these. This is an offset spatula. Just like you are putting a schmear on your bagel, you're just going to evenly spread out your frosting. You know, to make sure it's even, just kind of run your offset right across, but you can also get down on the level of the cake. That looks pretty good. We'll have plenty of opportunity to fill in any gaps and smooth it out once you have your initial layer. This is like my favorite thing to do. It's so relaxing. I've never really enjoyed yoga that much, but this sort of has the same effect. This is called a bench scraper. Most importantly, you want to hold it at a straight up and down angle and just touch it very lightly to the surface of your cake and start to spin. So to do a fun swirl on the top of the cake, I'm gonna spin the turntable, and as it's spinning, I'm just gonna move it straight out. If you mess this up, you can smooth it over and do it again. Oh, I messed it up. It's only cake, don't worry. Need a little more frosting. So I have a nice swirl pattern now. The easiest way to get sprinkles up and on the sides of the cake is to have them in a large bowl. Hold your cake, just like so. A handful at a time. Just gently draw them up the sides of the cake. And then I always like to do a little bit on top as well, just around the edge. This is your confetti cake. It's all done, it's easy to make at home, anybody can do this, and it's the perfect classic birthday cake.